Right now, as you're watching this video, you're exhaling CO2. Sounds harmless, right? But multiply that by 8 billion people, every breath, every car engine, every sizzling burger on the grill, and what do you get? A planet slowly gasping for air. And guess what? This invisible gas is reshaping our entire world, from rising sea levels swallowing cities, to wildfires turning nature into ash. In this video, we're going to dive into the carbon footprint you leave behind each day and the real cost our planet is paying. So get ready, because this isn't just a story about climate change. It's a story about you, about me, and the future we're burning away, one breath at a time. You might not see it, but every day you're throwing dozens of kilos of invisible CO2 into the sky, just by going about your normal life. From breathing, eating breakfast, driving to work, cranking up the AC, to streaming Netflix, all of it quietly pumps carbon dioxide into the atmosphere. And for the average American, that adds up to around 16 to 20 tons of CO2 per year, or roughly 44 to 55 kilograms per day. Sounds abstract? Let's put it this way. A 2-liter bottle of Coca-Cola weighs about 2 kilograms. That means each day, you're effectively releasing the equivalent of 22 bottles of invisible gas. And it's all going straight into the atmosphere. For comparison, the average person in India emits only about 2 tons per year. In the Philippines, it's around 3 tons. And in Germany, a highly industrialized country, it's about 8 to 9 tons per person per year. Americans have one of the highest carbon footprints in the world, mainly because of a high-consumption lifestyle. So where does all that CO2 come from? Foods that seem harmless, like steak or hamburgers, are actually mini carbon bombs. Raising cattle produces methane, a potent greenhouse gas, and meat production consumes vast amounts of water, land, and fuel. Packaged and long-distance shipped foods burn even more energy. Transportation. Every time you drive, hop into a rideshare, or catch a flight, you're burning fossil fuels and pumping CO2 into the air. A short flight alone can generate hundreds of kilograms of carbon, just for you. Daily living. Electricity for your AC, heating, hot showers, and lights mostly comes from burning coal, gas, or oil. In other words, more CO2. All these small actions, eating, commuting, consuming, add up to an enormous number. And the truth is, no one is exempt. We're all, in our own way, helping heat up the planet, day by day, breath by breath. Even if each person emits just a few kilograms of CO2 a day, it might not seem like much. But when all 8 billion of us do it together, we're creating a massive blanket of CO2 that wraps around the Earth, trapping the sun's heat and literally warming the planet. The consequences are undeniable. Temperatures are rising at unprecedented rates, polar ice is melting, and sea levels are quietly creeping up day by day. Weather patterns are growing more extreme. Storms are more powerful, droughts last longer, and wildfires are becoming alarmingly frequent. But that's not where it ends. Ecosystems are being thrown off balance, and many species simply can't adapt fast enough, vanishing forever from our planet. And humans? We're not immune. From homes swallowed by floods and failing harvests, to poor air quality that threatens our health every single day. What you do each day may feel small, but the impact is far from it. One round-trip flight can produce as much CO2 as a household uses in electricity over an entire year. That grilled beef dinner you love? It can emit the same amount of CO2 as a 30-minute drive. Every choice adds to that thickening, heat-trapping blanket. And then comes the domino effect. Melting ice raises the oceans, climate shifts fuel massive wildfires, superstorms hit more often, and harvests collapse. Think it's still a distant threat? Just look around. In Texas, farmers are grappling with the worst drought in decades. In Florida, floods aren't rare anymore. They're practically monthly. What once seemed far away is now hitting every home, every city, every person. And if we don't act, we're only accelerating Earth's fever, and no one gets a pass from the consequences. Things you never thought about. Have you ever considered that something as simple as sending an email could be contributing to global warming? It might sound crazy, but it's true. A single email generates about 0.3 to 4 grams of CO2. Now multiply that by the dozens of emails you send daily, and the ones that get forwarded again and again. Every forward adds more carbon to the atmosphere. And if that email gets printed, even worse. Think, the heat from the printer, chemical-based ink, trees cut down for paper, transportation, it all adds up to more emissions. But it doesn't stop there. Your morning cup of coffee? It comes with a carbon footprint too, around 100 to 150 grams of CO2 per cup. From water for the crops, to electricity for roasting, to fuel for transport, even that pretty logo on your paper cup. Everything costs the planet. And those quick Google searches? Each click emits around 0.2 grams of CO2, thanks to massive data centers running 24/7 to deliver your results. Now sending an email, printing a page, drinking coffee, or Googling something might seem like nothing. But when 5 billion people do it every single day, those tiny invisible actions are adding up, warming the planet, one small click or sip at a time. Sounds alarming, doesn't it? But what if we stopped just watching and actually started doing something? Can a small change really lead to something big? Just imagine, what if you reduce just 1 kilogram of CO2 each day? Maybe by skipping meat for one meal, turning off the lights when not in use, or walking instead of driving. It might feel like a drop in the ocean. But what if 8 billion people did the same? We'd cut down 8 million tons of CO2 in a single day. That's not just a number. That's a shift powerful enough to reshape our planet's future. The Arctic ice might stop melting so quickly. Glaciers would no longer flow like broken dams. Polar bears would have more time to hunt, to survive. Air in our cities would get cleaner. Kids could play outside without wearing masks. Blue skies would return to places like Beijing, New Delhi, Los Angeles. Cities once drowned in smog. Forests would begin to heal. Burned landscapes could regenerate. Birds would return to nest. Entire ecosystems would begin to stabilize. Our oceans would calm. Coral reefs could recover. Fish wouldn't need to migrate away from warming waters. And most importantly, we'd give ourselves a chance. A chance to turn back the madness. A chance to prove that we're not just destroyers, but repairers. That when it truly matters, humanity can rise, not fall. So, what can we do? Here's the good news. You don't need to be a professional environmental activist to make a real difference. You just have to start with small, consistent changes. Go plant-based just one day a week. Sounds simple, right? But skipping meat, especially red meat like beef, can significantly lower your carbon footprint. Why? Because raising livestock consumes a massive amount of resources and produces huge emissions of CO2 and methane. One meatless day equals one lighter day for the planet. Walk, bike, carpool. Instead of driving alone, try getting around in ways that pollute less. It's not just about cutting emissions. You'll get healthier, save money, and feel more connected to your community. Turn things off when you're not using them. Yeah, we've heard it before, but it still works. Lights, air conditioners, TVs, computers. When you switch them off, you're not just lowering your electricity bill. You're cutting down on CO2 from power plants. Plant a tree. Recycle. Buy less. Each tree you plant is a living CO2 vacuum. Every item you recycle saves energy. And saying no to things you don't need. That's how we give the Earth a little more room to breathe. So if this message inspired you, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe for more content like this. Thanks for watching and for doing your part.